Good morning. Today we invite you to step into a story that is both deeply personal and profoundly relevant to so many families across America. Immigration stories often feel distant until they hit close to home. For many, these stories are headlines or statistics, but for others, they are lived realities that shape every day. Today, we focus on Bruna Caroline Ferreira, a devoted mother and longtime U.S. resident whose life changed dramatically after a sudden arrest by immigration officials. One moment, she was caring for her family. The next, she was facing an uncertain future. Bruna's case drew national attention because of her connection to Karoline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. She's the mother of Leavitt's nephew. This unexpected link brought her story into the national conversation, highlighting the personal side of policy decisions. This link thrust her personal struggle into the spotlight, showing how immigration laws can deeply affect families, even those with ties to the highest levels of government. The ripple effects of her arrest were felt not just by her loved ones, but by an entire community watching and waiting for answers. Bruna's journey is one many can relate to: hopes for a stable future, dreams of belonging, and the ever-present fear that it could all vanish in an instant. Her story is a reminder of the fragility of security for so many immigrants. Her arrest forces us to look beyond labels and see the real people at the heart of immigration debates. It challenges us to consider the human cost behind every policy and every headline. This is more than a news story. It's a window into the lived experience of immigration in America. Through Bruna's eyes, we see the hopes, fears, and resilience that define so many families' journeys, reminding us that behind every statistic is a story worth telling. To understand Bruna's situation, we need to go back to her beginnings in America. Brought from Brazil as a child in 1998, Bruna grew up in the U.S., learning English, attending school, and building a life. Like many dreamers, she entered on a tourist visa that expired in 1999, leaving her unauthorized but determined to belong. She worked, paid taxes, and became part of her New England community. Bruna shares an American son with Michael Leavitt, the brother of Karoline Leavitt, and they co-parent despite no longer being together. Her life here spans over 2 decades, rooted in family and community. This long history sets the stage for the profound disruption caused by her recent arrest. For years, Bruna was protected by DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. This program was created to give young immigrants like her a chance to build a life in the United States, even though they arrived as children and had no say in the matter. DACA allowed her to work, drive, and live without constant fear of deportation. It opened doors to opportunities that would otherwise be closed, letting her contribute to her community and plan for her future. But despite these freedoms, DACA was never a path to citizenship or permanent security. Legal and political battles, especially during the Trump administration, made renewals difficult and uncertain. Each change in leadership brought new threats to the program, leaving recipients like Bruna unsure if their lives could be upended overnight. Bruna's DACA status lapsed during this chaos, leaving her vulnerable to losing everything she had worked for. The fear and anxiety of not knowing what would happen next became a constant presence in her life. Even after losing DACA, her lawyer says she was actively pursuing legal citizenship. She sought every possible avenue to stay in the country she called home, determined not to give up despite the setbacks. DACA is only temporary protection, not permanent status. Recipients remain in a legal gray area. They must constantly renew their status, pay fees, and hope that policies don't change overnight. Bruna's case shows how policy shifts can upend lives, even for those trying to follow the rules. Families are left in limbo, never knowing if the next headline will change everything. Her ongoing legal process adds complexity, highlighting the uncertainty many immigrants face. Every step forward can be met with new obstacles, delays, or sudden changes in the law. She wasn't ignoring the law, she was caught in a system that's constantly changing. where doing everything right still doesn't guarantee safety or stability. Her story is a powerful example of how fragile life can be for those with uncertain status, and a reminder of the resilience it takes to keep hoping for a better future. On November 12, 2025, Bruna was driving from Boston to New Hampshire to pick up her son, a routine trip for any parent. But that day, ICE agents stopped and arrested her, turning an ordinary moment into a life-altering event. The arrest didn't happen in a dramatic raid, but during a simple drive, showing how quickly life can unravel for undocumented individuals. Bruna was processed by federal authorities, instantly separated from her family. Her son, waiting in New Hampshire, was left without his mother, and her family plunged into crisis. The suddenness of her arrest highlights the fragility of life for those with uncertain immigration status. One moment you're a parent, the next, you're facing removal from the only home you've ever known. In Bruna's case, two starkly different narratives have emerged. The Department of Homeland Security labels her a criminal illegal alien, citing an expired visa and an alleged prior arrest for battery. They argue these factors make her a priority for removal. Bruna's attorney, Todd Pomerleau, disputes the criminal record and insists she's not a threat, just a mother and long-term resident caught in shifting policies. He emphasizes her DACA history and ongoing efforts to secure legal status. The legal battle centers on whether Bruna is a danger or simply a victim of a broken system. This clash shows how complicated and contentious immigration enforcement can be. The most devastating impact of Bruna's arrest is on her 11-year-old son. Bruna and Michael Leavitt shared joint custody, and her sudden detention shattered their son's world. Michael describes the situation as incredibly difficult. His son hasn't spoken to his mother since her arrest. The silence and uncertainty are agonizing, leaving a child to wonder when, or if, he'll see his mom again. The family's connection to Karoline Leavitt is distant. The focus is on the immediate family torn apart. Michael now faces the challenge of caring for his son alone, shielding him from trauma while navigating legal chaos. Bruna's story is a stark reminder. Immigration enforcement isn't just about laws. It's about families and the lasting wounds separation can cause. In crisis, Bruna's family turned to their community for help. Her sister launched a GoFundMe campaign to cover legal fees, quickly raising over $15,000. The campaign became a rallying point, framing Bruna as a valued community member, not an illegal alien. The GoFundMe page shares her story, emphasizing her roots in the U.S. and her efforts to follow the law. The funds are for legal counsel to fight for her release and a fair hearing. This outpouring of support is more than financial. It's a symbol of solidarity and compassion. Bruna's community stands behind her, determined to help reunite a mother and child. Bruna's ordeal worsened when she was transferred over 500 miles away to a Louisiana ICE facility. This distance makes legal defense and family contact nearly impossible. Her son can't visit, and her lawyer faces huge hurdles. Such transfers are common, but they isolate detainees and complicate their cases. Life inside ICE detention is isolating and stressful, especially so far from home. Bruna's legal team is fighting for her release on bond and to challenge her removal order. The immigration court system is backlogged. Her case could take months or years. Every step is a battle, with her future and her family's hanging in the balance. Her distant detention is not just a detail, it's central to her struggle for justice. Bruna Ferreira's story is more than a personal tragedy. It's a lens on America's immigration debate. Her experience reveals the human cost behind headlines and policy decisions, reminding us that every statistic is a real person with hopes, dreams, and loved ones. Bruna's journey is not unique. It echoes the struggles of thousands of dreamers who have grown up in the United States, built lives here, and yet remain in limbo. It highlights the precarious lives of dreamers who are American in every way but on paper. They contribute to their communities, attend school, and work alongside their neighbors, yet their futures are uncertain, shaped by laws that often change with the political winds. DACA offered hope, but as Bruna's case shows, it's not a permanent solution. The program provides temporary relief, but it leaves dreamers vulnerable to policy shifts and legal challenges, never fully secure in their status or their ability to plan for the future. Her arrest underscores the urgent need for comprehensive immigration reform and a clear path to citizenship. Without real change, families remain at risk of being torn apart, and communities lose the contributions of people who call America home. At its core, this is about family. Should an American child grow up without his mother because of an expired visa? The pain of separation is felt not just by individuals, but by entire families and communities who lose loved ones to a broken system. Bruna's case forces us to confront our values. Do we prioritize enforcement over families? Are we willing to accept the heartbreak that comes with rigid policies, or can we find a way to balance security with compassion and fairness? Her story reminds us that immigration policies have real, life-altering consequences. Behind every policy debate are people whose lives are changed forever by the decisions we make as a nation. As her case unfolds, it challenges us to think deeply about justice, compassion, and what it means to call America home. Bruna's story is a call to action, a reminder that the choices we make today will shape the future for generations to come.